In 2012, 237 people were discovered homeless. 17,845 children under the age of 10 were found homeless, with 410 sleeping at rough. On any given night in Australia, there are 1 in 200 people that are homeless. That means that 1 in every 200 young people just like you are found homeless. My name is Chyna Hovi-Travis, and today I'll be informing you of the social epidemic Australia is currently facing and how you can help save the lives of others. Homelessness in Australia is a severe social epidemic that is dramatically increasing. According to the ABS, the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the statistical definition states that when a person does not have suitable accommodation alternatives, they are considered homeless. This means that if their current living arrangement is in a dwelling or is inadequate, has no tenure or is the initial tenure is too short or not extendable, or does not allow them to have control or access for social relations. There are 3 known stages of homelessness: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Your primary homelessness, which is experienced by people without conventional accommodation. So this can be people sleeping at rough, improvised dwellings, people that are on the streets. The secondary level of homelessness is experienced by those who frequently move from one location to another. This can include emergency housing, women's shelters, or even couch surfing on people's couches. Your tertiary homelessness is experienced by those staying in accommodation that falls below the minimum community standards. This can be boarding houses where there are too many people crammed into one space, or even in caravan parks where it doesn't meet proper standards. Over the past 5 years, the overall national homelessness total has risen by 14%, with 116,000 Australians discovered homeless just in 2016 alone. It is estimated that 8,200 were sleeping at rough. This means that there's been an increase of 20% since the 2011 statistics. It's estimated that more than 1,000 people were sleeping in parks, on benches, and in open security with nothing there more than the year before. But what causes homelessness? Often homelessness is a result of many complex issues. Unfortunately, majority of uninformed people assume that homelessness is as a result of one's own actions or one's own choices. Factors such as domestic violence, substance abuse, mental illness, intergenerational poverty, and a shortage of available rental housings are the most common contributors to modern-day homelessness. Domestic violence is commonly known as the main cause of homelessness. Victims are left stranded after escaping unhealthy relationships and thus have a lack of finances. The lack of reasonably priced rental options often leaves women with children with nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep, no finances to support themselves, and this often creates a cycle that the next generation upholds. Substance abuse and mental illness are both specifically known as contributors to youth homelessness. So young adults that suffer from probable serious mental illness are 3.5 times more likely to suffer or experience homelessness at some point in their life. Recreational drug and alcohol use are becoming more and more widespread within teenagers today. It offers a form of escape, it offers somewhere where they can go, it offers somewhere where they feel safe away from mental illness, and a way that they feel safe and secure. The need to chase after drugs and alcohol then inhibits those that are experiencing homelessness from receiving help. It stops them from finding support in older generations and looking at other organisations. As a result, they stay trapped in their prison of homelessness. Homelessness isn't a choice that majority of young people choose. They're actually forced into this as a result of their upbringing, their mental status, or where their family support's at. Youth homelessness is currently a social issue that our society's younger generation is constantly facing. It is estimated that 50% of homeless people are under the age of 25. This indicates that 58,000 are youth between the ages of 12 to 25. Guys, that means that there's people out there younger than you that are sleeping on the streets, that are sleeping at rough, that don't have their mum or dads there, that don't have electricity. Australian young people are falling into the trap of integrational poverty. So integrational poverty is where the grandparents were homeless, and then the parents became homeless because they knew nothing else than that. And then slowly and slowly it forms into a pattern between all families, and then we have 5 generations of homelessness. They begin to follow the footsteps of their parents. Step by step, they become more and more like them. Research has found that those who experience homelessness at a young age are more likely to experience persistent homelessness in adulthood. The longer an individual has been homeless, the more it costs the Australian community in terms of health, justice, and community services. Precautions and assistance needs to be put to place earlier so young people suffering from homelessness are able to find accommodation, resources, and assistance for mental health. Young people experience homelessness have the same needs, hopes, and aspirations about other young people. Further awareness needs to be created so that there is a larger support network, ensuring that the young adults experience homelessness are able to strive for something better, that they're able to reach goals, that they're able to have hope, that they're able to have aspirations for a future. Over time, respected people within different industries have taken responsibility in raising awareness of youth homelessness. And as a result, the society has become more conscious of the significance youth homelessness has, supporting different organisations through different creative platforms. This can include music, dance, media, TV, social media. Ed Sheeran is actually really persistent in this. He wrote a song in 2011-18 addressing the issue of youth homelessness as well as other confronting issues such as substance addiction and prostitution. Both are now evident factors in youth homelessness. The song follows the story of a young heroin addict prostitute. She's struggling with homelessness and is trapped in a world that's consumed by addiction and prostitution. So I'm going to play the song for you with the lyrics.
She's in the class 18, stuck in her daydream. Been this way since 18, but lately her face seems slowly sinking, wasting, crumbling like pastries.
This first verse actually talks about the innocence the girl originally possessed and the slow repercussions that cause that to fade away. So it also looks at how when she was 18 years old, she was something else. And then slowly and slowly she started to fade away into this life. And what that does is it actually addresses the victim blaming that we place on homeless youth in our society. That they chose to be there, that they chose to be in this position. Well, no, at 18 years old, she didn't choose to have this life. I'll keep playing the song. The lines, the worst things in life come free to us and we're all under the upper hand, spoke directly towards homelessness being a social issue ignored by many. It can no longer be assumed that the tragedies that happen consequent of homelessness or those that are struggling below us in society. Those that are homeless aren't below those of us that have money. But yet we need to look at this as a chance that we can go in and step out and help. Because just as they are homeless, this has much effect on our economics and our community as it does in their individual life.
Go mad for a couple grams. We don't wanna go outside tonight. In the pipe, fly to the motherland. Or sell love to another man. It's too cold outside for angels to fly.
The final lyrics, "It's too cold outside for angels to fly," symbolize how she finally trapped herself in her own prison. As a community, we need to help those that can no longer help themselves. The homeless epidemic isn't left on the shoulders of some, but should be a burden of everyone so that we can see change happen. As previously stated, and we can't say this enough, homelessness is an epidemic. It's not something that we can ignore until it goes away. But homelessness is just as much as an epidemic that the government needs to address and solve, but it's also everyone else's responsibility. We can't ignore those suffering from homelessness and hope that the problems will solve themselves. As stated, homelessness is becoming increasingly more prominent within our society. Prevention and action needs to be taking place as a community. We can't cure homelessness, but we can put procedures in place to stop the cycle of homelessness. The best prevention is speaking out, tearing down the stigma of homeless people. As a community, we need to speak up against the Australian government. Maybe that making it known that they will understand the need to take action in funding schemes to assist in providing affordable housing options. We need to get the government to step up and have housing options available so those that are running away, those that are trying to change their lives, have the opportunity to. Another way you specifically can help is by joining an organisation, by either volunteering your time or finances. People need to be loved and supported and not condemnation. Loved and supported and not found through condemnation. Young adults need to learn that they have a voice. You guys have a voice. As a young adult society, you guys can step up and make change. Your age doesn't dictate what your future holds. We need to encourage those experiencing homelessness to seek help and change their circumstance. I can't express to you enough the importance of preventing homelessness. This is a current epidemic, and I know I've said epidemic enough, but we need to understand the importance and the significance of this issue in our society, the significance of the issue that we're facing and what support needs to be made available. By informing you of these statistics surrounding homelessness, I encourage you to find an option that's feasible for you, to start supporting, to start assisting, and start helping those in need. Thank you for your time and your support in homelessness prevention.